Good morning, students. In the last lecture, we had seen 2.2 of lesson number 2.1 of lesson number 2. Today we are going to start with the next point, that is 2.2, Indian historiography, various ideological frameworks. Framework means what? In a particular manner. Now, in this, the first point that we are going to study is colonial historiography. Now, colonial means what? Establishing colonies. And we are going to see that how colonial history has been taken place. So, let us read the paragraph. The early scholars who studied and wrote Indian history were mainly British officers and Christian missionaries. So, the first persons, or rather you can say the scholars, first to write Indian history were who? Yes, they were British officers and the persons belonging to Christian missionaries. Their prejudice is clearly reflected in the same way of them have ridiculed Indian culture. Their writings were used to justify colonial British rule. Means these particular scholars, they had emphasized on writing how British had slowly established its colony in India. And the 5 volumes of Cambridge History of India published during 1922 to 1937 are distinct examples of colonial historiography. So, based on the British rule in India, 5 volumes are being published. Volumes means this particular British rule has been put up into 5 different books. They are compiled in 5 different books, and the name of the books is given as Cambridge History of India. And these books were published in the year 1922 to 1937. Means it nearly took 15 years to publish these particular 5 volumes based on the British rule in India and the colonies established by them. Now we are going to move towards the second point, that is Orientalistic historiography. Now let us see first what is the meaning of Orientalistics. The meaning is clearly mentioned in the first para of this particular point. So let us read that. Many European scholars felt curious about civilization and countries of the East. Some of these scholars felt admiration and respect for them. These scholars were known as Orientalists. So, the persons belonging to Europe, they were very curious about the civilization of our country, which were on our eastern side, that is on the eastern part of India. And these scholars, they had a great respect for the history of India, and that is why these scholars, they took more efforts to know more about Indian history, and so the scholars who were more interested in learning about Indian history are called as Orientalists. So who are Orientalists? They are nothing but or none other than the scholars of Europe who were curious to know about Indian history. Then let us see what these Orientalists did, or what they tried to gather, what they tried to learn about India. So look into the next point. The Orientalists studied the similarities between Sanskrit and some of the European languages. First they tried to study what are the similarities between the Sanskrit language and between the European language. And they focused more on Vedic tradition and Sanskrit literature. So we all know that when the different dynasties were ruling, more of the Vedic literature was followed, and that is why these European people, they were more interested in knowing about the Vedic literature that was followed by our Indian people in the ancient times. Their studies resulted into formulating the nation of an ancient language that could be the mother of all Indo-European languages. So they were trying to come to a conclusion that which language can be considered as the mother language that we call as mother tongue of our country. And and so it was named as Indo-European because the people who were interested in it, they belonged to Europe and they were trying to compare Indian language with European language. That is why it is called as mother of Indo-European languages. Just move to the third para. In the year 1784, Sir William Jones founded Ascetic Society in Kolkata and it opened the doors for research in ancient Indian literature and history. So what did Sir Jones do? He founded an ascetic society in Calcutta and the intention behind founding this ascetic society in Calcutta was to make doors open for research, means to do research in different manners based on the ancient Indian literature and history of those times. Among the Orientalist scholars, Friedrich Max Müller, this is the name of a person who deserves a special mention, means he is a person who has contributed a lot. In his opinion, or according to his opinion, Sanskrit was the most ancient language of the Indo-European languages. So he says that Sanskrit is the ancient language which was followed by India and Europe. And he was deeply interested in Sanskrit literature. He was very inspired, or he was very attracted towards the Sanskrit language, and that is why he has translated the first book written in Sanskrit, which is named as Hitopadesh. So this book written in Sanskrit was translated into European language. He was the editor of 15 volumes. When he started translating these books, he had published 50 volumes on the sacred books. Now sacred means the books based on the life history of gods. He also compiled Rig Veda, which has been published in 6 volumes. Now we also know that there were 5 types of Vedas followed in the different dynasties. So on the basis of this Rig Vedas, he has also published 6 volumes. And he translated these volumes later into German language. So first, the European scholars, they translated our Sanskrit into European language, and later on, when they came to know that other peoples belonging to other countries are also interested, they published it into German language. Lately, Edward Said, now Edward Said is a name of a scholar. So, a scholar who has reevaluated the Orientalistic writings has thrown light on imperialistic interest of Orientalistic scholars. So, Edward Said, he is a scholar who also reevaluated means he also cross-checked the history written by the different scholars. Now we are going to move towards the third point, that is nationalistic historiography. So let us see what is given. The writings of Indian historians who were trained in British educational system show an inclination to restore the pride in the ancient glory of India and the self-esteem of Indian readers. So many Indian historians who were trained, means who had taken education in the British schools, what they did, they tried to restore, means they tried to maintain the pride of our Indian history. Their writings are known as nationalistic historiography. So these particular persons who tried to store our history related to India, these particular persons are also known as nationalistic historiography. So nationalistic, if you take the word national, it means the people belonging to our own nation, that is India. Nationalistic writings in Maharashtra were inspired by Vishnu Shastri Chiplunkar. So first, related to our nation, they had given more importance to the history of Maharashtra, because in those times Maharashtra is before the British rule. Maharashtra was ruled by Nizam Shahi and Adil Shahi, and that is why this particular person, Vishnu Shastri Chiplunkar, he has been inspired while he came to know about the history of Maharashtra of those times. He criticized the prejudiced history of ancient India written by British officers. The nationalistic historians try to seek the golden era of Indian history, and they are at times blamed for ignoring the critical analysis of the historical truth. So many some truth means the true facts were being neglected by these particular persons, and whatever what you can say incomplete information they were having, they had tried to criticize that information, and that particular information was added while writing historiography. So this person, he did not like that the main points were dropped away or ignored, and some another or you can say incomplete information was written. So there are some of the persons whose names are mentioned here. Let us see them. Mahadev Govind Ranade, Ramkrishna Gopal Bhandarkar, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, Rajendra Lal Mishra, Ramesh Chandra Muzumdar, Kashi Prasad, Jaswal Radha Kumud Mukherjee, Bhagwan Lal Indraji, Vasudev Vishnu Mirashi, and Anand Sadashiv Atlekar are the names of some renowned scholars among the nationalist historians. So these are the names of some of the nationalist historians who have taken efforts to criticize that whatever truth was ignored, it should be mentioned, it should be written in that. Then there is a column below that which is telling us something about Mahadev, Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade. What did he do? He explained the background of the rise of Maratha Empire in great details in his book. So, how Maratha Empire came into power, who had taken that efforts? We all know that Shivaji Maharaj was a person who brought Swaraj to Maharashtra, and he spent all his life for his subjects. Subjects means the people of Maharashtra, and that is why this particular person, Mahadev Govind Ranade, he has explained all the background history of Maratha Empire. That is, before establishing Swaraj, what difficulties were faced by the Maratha people is being written in the book called The Rise of Maratha Power. According to him, it was not like a suddenly erupted forest fire, but the ground for it in Maharashtra on social, cultural and religious levels was getting ready over a prolonged period. So even we don't know for how many period the Adil Shahi, Nizam Shahi were troubling our Maharashtrian people, but it is said that it has taken a prolonged period, means Maratha power to be established took a longer time. Then Rajwade is well known for his writings in Marathi on varied subjects like history, linguistics, etymology, grammar, etc. So Rajwade is a well-known person who has written many things in Marathi which were based on the history of Maharashtra, the linguistic, that is the different types of languages, and also he has emphasized on grammar also. He was of the firm opinion that we should write our own history, means whatever we know, we should write it ourselves. We should not wait for someone to come and tell us that this is the history of your what you can say, of this particular person or of this particular region. And he has compiled and edited 22 volumes of Marathancha Itihasachi Sadhani. Sadhani means whatever material he got, he has compiled all that, and it took 20, or he had to publish all this in 22 volumes. So one volume was not sufficient. Whatever things, whatever information he was going on getting, he was going and compiling it, and at last it required 22 volumes to put the total history of Maharashtra of those times. He wrote very scholarly preferences to each of the 22 volumes. Means in each of the 22 volumes, he has written a detailed information of the ancient times. He stated, history is the all-inclusive image of the past societies. It does not include only the stories of political images, compresses and wars of seizing power. He insisted that history should be written only using authentic documentary sources. So he was also of the firm decision that history should be written in an authentic manner, means all the realistic facts only should be written in the historiography. And that is what it means, that if a particular emperor he has failed in his war, if he has not treated his people well, these things should also be included along with their victory. So failure and victory both should be written side by side, both should be included while writing the history. The next para, the nationalistic historiography helped in triggering of the independence movement of the Indian people against the British. Means this nationalistic historiography, it helped the people to fight against the British so that we could get freedom or we could gain independence. In this aspect, the book The Indian War of Independence of 1857, written by Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, is of great importance. So this particular person, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, he has taken great efforts and he has written a book called as The Indian War of Independence 1857. The nationalistic historiography provided a monument to the writing of regional histories too. Means not only the history of only of our particular country, but in our country how many states are there, how many villages are there, how many districts are there. Each and every aspect has also been included in this particular nationalistic historiography. Means even the locations, even the valleys, whatever mountainous regions are there, each and every aspect has been written or has been mentioned in this historiography. As a result, the attention of the historians was drawn to geographical conditions and the history of South Indian region. So first we saw the Europeans were interested and they started studying about Indian history from the east side. Later on they diverted their attention towards the south, and in this way each and every geographic condition of India was being considered while writing the points based on the ancient period. Now we are going to see one para that is about that one, that V.K. Rajwade founded Bharat Itihas Samaj Shodhak Mandal in Pune on 7 July 1910 to facilitate historical research. Means to give more and more what you can say focus on studying or doing research regarding our history. A particular institution was established, which was established by V.K. Rajwade in the year on 7 July in the year 1910. Now we are going to see one more paragraph that is based on V.K. Rajwade, that is given in the green color part. Human history is defined by time and space. So human history is defined by time and space. Means reading only about a particular person, that is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru or Mahatma Gandhi, but in which place they were born, in which year they were born, in which part they were living, and in which part they actually worked. All these things should also be defined while writing history. That is why time and space both are very important aspects while writing history. Describing any event necessitates that the final portrayal should be spread on the complete canvas of the given time and place. Only if a balanced combination of three factors, that is time, space and personalities, is present, then only an event does qualify to be called so. So while writing history, if these three particular things are clearly included and mentioned, which are they? Time, space and personalities, only then we can say that writing historiography of that time is correct, or it is an evident, it is a correct fact, and it is the correct source of getting more information regarding to that period. So this was the lesson for today, that was 2.2, that is Indian historiography, which was being divided into three parts. First was colonial historiography, that is the colonies related to British rule. Then Orientalistic historiography, where the scholars from Europe who were very attracted by the Vedic literature of our country. And the next is nationalistic historiography, where the people belonging to India also put their efforts in writing these particular aspects. So, please students, this was the topic for today. I hope you must have understood it, and now I shall give you the homework based on this. So today's homework is based on 2.2 question, based on 2.2 I have given you 3 short notes for writing. First is colonial historiography, orientalistic historiography and nationalistic historiography. Okay, thank you students.